As the sun shines on all of my glory, my flaws don't look so bad at all. What was I so afraid of?
Hey everybody, it's Sharmel. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to another video. So today I am back with a quick little chit chat video, y'all. It's been almost 6 months since I combed out my locks. Not quite 6 months yet, but we're definitely approaching that 6-month mark pretty soon. And y'all, time just be flying. Like, it doesn't feel like I combed them out yesterday, but it also doesn't feel like it's been half a year since I combed them out. But yeah, y'all, it's been almost 6 months since I combed my locks out, and even though it's been a while, I still get comments here and there on my various platforms of people saying like, oh, you make me want to comb out my locks, or just people kind of asking for an update on the experience, how I like being back to loose hair. So since it's been a little while, I definitely wanted to check in and just kind of give you guys an update on my experience post locks for anyone who's like maybe considering combing out their locks, or if you have loose hair and you're considering locking your hair. I'm just gonna kind of do like a compare and contrast with my experience, mainly post locks, because I think going into my lock journey, my mindset was kind of different. The way that I thought about my hair was a lot different than how I feel about my loose hair post locks. So yeah, if you guys want to hear my opinion and some advice on whether or not you should lock your hair or comb your locks out, then yeah, keep watching. So before I get into like the nitty-gritty of what I prefer when it comes to locks or loose hair, I do kind of want to make some general statements. So first things first, I think it's important that we all know our hair for ourselves. And when I talk about like knowing your hair for yourself, I mean that in like all areas. So obviously know like the physical parts of your hair, but also know like the emotional connections and things like that that you have with your hair. So you need to know like your texture, your density, how your hair affects your lifestyle, finances, the traumas that you have with your hair. Not only do these things like affect the appearance of your hair, but it also heavily contributes to our overall experience with our hair, right? One thing that I had to accept about my hair is that it treads to the thin, low density side. And like, I always knew that my hair was kind of thinner, low density, but when I had my locks for 3 years, it gave me the illusion that my hair was a lot thicker than what it was. So now going back to loose hair, you know, sometimes I'll be doing some styles, or like I'll see something and it's like, just because I have the length to accomplish certain styles doesn't mean that it's always going to look the same because of the density and things like that. I need a little texture, or I need curls, I need shape. You know, I have to play with things like that to give off a fuller appearance when it comes to my hair. When it comes to your hair financially, right? Do you have patience to do things yourself, or do you want to have somebody else do it? If you want to have somebody else do it, do you have the finances to maintain that upkeep with going to a stylist regularly? We also have different like emotional attachments to our hair, right? Again, traumas. You could have had an experience with a stylist that just left a really bad taste in your mouth, and you will never do XYZ again because of that experience. Whereas someone else, they could have had that same style or went to that same stylist and had a great experience, and so they don't have like a negative aversion to what have you. So again, it's important that we know our hair for ourselves. This is something that I'm constantly talking about, constantly reiterating, because I feel like once you have healthy expectations of your hair and what you want your hair to do, how you want your hair to look, it's easier to figure out what works for you. I feel like it's easier to make decisions as it relates to your hair. As much as I love to get on here and share my experience, give you guys inspirations for styles and things like that, I would never want any of you to go ahead first and making a decision based on what I choose to do with my hair. So just because I combed out my locks, right, I don't want to influence people to comb out their locks unless that's something that they want to do. Know your hair for yourself and stop basing your experience based on how other people experience their hair. So next, I want to talk about maintenance. So which do I prefer, the maintenance of locks, or do I prefer maintenance with loose hair? So I definitely think that locks kind of take the cake as far as like maintenance go. Locks are a very low maintenance style. That's not saying that you don't have to do anything with your locks, but I do feel like when it comes to maintenance with locks, it's definitely very redundant, it's very consistent, especially once your hair reaches like maturity. you don't really get hit with any like curveballs. You pretty much know what to expect when it comes to just maintenance. It's a very get up and go kind of style. Even when you like retwist and stuff like that, it's not something that you have to get done like once a week, every 2 weeks. If you don't like doing anything with your hair, or if you like very low maintenance style, then absolutely locks are your best choice. Now, what I will say, regardless if you have locks or loose hair, if you have a good routine, I feel like a good routine will make the process smooth, period. And I completely understand that when it comes to hair and hair maintenance, it's not a one size fits all. I completely understand that. But I do feel like sometimes people like over exaggerate how time consuming like dealing with your loose hair is. And I feel like, again, if you have a routine for your hair, it may take some time, but it shouldn't be this like long drawn out process all the time. To be completely honest, like my shampoo wash days with locks and post locks, I feel like it takes about the same amount of time. Now, initially when I first combed out my locks, it was definitely a learning curve. I had to kind of get used to it again, but once I kind of find my rhythm, I feel like it takes really about the same amount of time. And I definitely feel like I can wash and shampoo my loose hair a lot faster than I used to shampoo my locks. So with my locks, although it's not a hard process, again, it's very redundant, but as my locks got longer, as they matured, I feel like it used to take forever to rinse them. So even though I wasn't like detangling, I would still spend a good amount of time in the shower rinsing my locks to make sure that they were free of like product. I didn't have any leftover shampoo or conditioner or anything in my head. But after my locks were, you know, washed and conditioned, after that, I would just have to spray it with some oil or something, and then they would be, I can let them air dry, especially if it wasn't like a retwist day. So I do feel like both are kind of like give and take. Like I said, I wash my loose hair faster, but the afterwards process with detangling, blow drying, and things like that, it may take a little longer, whereas like my locks, they take longer to wash and rinse, but afterwards all I gotta do is throw some oil on it and I'm done. And in general, when it comes to just like hair maintenance, I don't know, I've never been one to really complain about it too much, because I feel like it falls in the category of just overall upkeep and hygiene. Yeah, I'm just very neutral towards it, because again, it's something that I have to do. It's like bathing every day. It's like oral hygiene. It's all a part of just the overall upkeep of my body. So the next category is styling. As somebody who enjoys just styling their hair, as somebody who enjoys like trying different things, trying different hairstyles, being creative with my hair, I'm gonna have to side with loose hair in this category. I just feel like with loose hair, you have infinite possibilities. Like I can wear my natural curls this morning, have a silk press by the evening, throw on a wig tomorrow, have braids down to my ankles by Friday, have a pixie cut next week, grow my pixie cut out for a couple of weeks, and then get some faux locks. Like I feel like the options are just limitless. You can pretty much do anything. If you do want locks, they have temporary lock styles that you can wear, faux locks, things like that. I will say, like when I first combed out my locks, I definitely thought that I would be doing a lot more styling than I have been doing, or like I thought I would be styling my hair how I was before I did my locks. Part of it, I think, is just I'm getting older. My lifestyle pre-locks is a lot different than my lifestyle post-locks, and so I just don't always have like the same inclination to do all the trendy styles like I used to do. And for the most part, I used to tell y'all all the time when I had my locks, the style that I really missed the most with my locks were small knotless braids, and so I've definitely been doing those styles. I definitely haven't styled my loose hair as much as I thought I would, but it is nice having the option. Like if I see a style that I like and I want to try it, I feel like I can just go ahead and try it. Whereas when I had my locks, if I seen a style that I liked, I would kind of have to think like, how can I make this work for my locks? But that doesn't mean that locks aren't versatile, because if you guys are familiar with my videos, when I had my locks, I was doing a bunch of styling. Like my lock style videos were probably like my most favorite videos to create when I had my locks, because yeah, it was just fun to see a style and get inspired by it, and then figure out how to manipulate it to work for my locks. So you can definitely still get the styling done with the locks, But again, you kind of have to like reframe your mind, and you just kind of have to look at it differently. Now that I've combed out my locks, I see a lot of the lock girlies doing all kinds of styles, and I'm like, dang, why didn't I think of that when I had my locks? So definitely have fun, but I do feel like when it comes to styling with locks, it is still kind of limited. Like, yeah, you can put a wig over locks. I've done that, but you still can't have like natural leave out to blend with it. You have to do like a lace wig, right? If you don't like closures and frontals, then it's kind of like and then you also have to worry about getting it like flat, because depending on how thick or how long your locks are, it can make certain styles bulky. For someone like me who loves like box braids and stuff like that, one thing I didn't like about my locks, I wish I was able to do more box braid kind of styles when I had my locks, but because of the size, the few times that I tried it, I just feel like it didn't look right. It's not that you can't style your locks, but it is still limited compared to what you can do with loose hair. All right, y'all, so the next category is health. How is the health of my hair compared to when I had locks versus post locks? So overall, I feel like the health of my hair has been pretty consistent. Locks are just like the ultimate protective style. It's low manipulation. Again, it's a very low maintenance style. Now you do have to be careful with like retwisting and making sure not to over twist, because it can cause like tension and pulling and balding and stuff like that. But in general, like, I feel like when I had my locks, my hair was the healthiest it's probably ever been in my life. And when I combed them out, the integrity of my hair was still very good, especially after I went to a stylist and got it trimmed and a couple of treatments and stuff like that. But what I do not like about being back to loose hair is that I feel like it's made me kind of like super protective of my hair. Pre-locks, y'all, I used to just do a bunch of stuff to my hair. Now, was what I doing always like the best for my hair? Absolutely not. But I love just having that freedom when it came to my hair. Not being afraid to do things or try things with my hair. And then when I had my locks, I was also still enjoying some of that freedom. Like, I was dyeing my hair regularly and all the time, and it wasn't affecting my hair. To whereas now, back to a loose natural, I'm kind of like, ooh, I don't want to put too much heat on it. I don't want to get heat damage. Ooh, I can't wear this style for too long. It's gonna cause breakage. Oh, what do the ends of my hair look like? Or I have split ends. Like, I hate feeling like that. It just kind of takes the fun out of it for me. I spent all that time combing my locks out, trying to retain as much of it as possible, and it's like, I don't want to just break it off. So yeah, considering all things, my hair is still healthy. And as someone who likes to play in their hair, I do think I take a pretty good job of taking care of my hair. It's not that I just want to be like overly destructive or neglectful to my hair, but I do feel like I've kind of developed an attachment to it that I didn't have before, that I don't think I necessarily like, because for me, hair has always been fun. So I don't want to get so caught up in like, don't do this to your hair, don't do this to your hair, that it takes away from like my creative outlet, if that makes sense. Another thing too is that I feel like my scalp and my hairline is more sensitive now. I feel like that can be contributed to a few things. So I feel like parts of my hair, especially when I had my locks, they weren't touched, they weren't manipulated, like they were just being. And so going from that to now just being able to touch every area of my hair, I feel like my scalp is very sensitive. And with my hairline already being like naturally fine, I feel like these edges, y'all, I'm like, they've been a little sensitive, and I'm like, okay now. So again, it could be the manipulation, but another thing too is I'm getting older. There's been a lot of lifestyle changes, and like I said, your health, your lifestyle, those also contribute to like the health of your hair. So I'm in my 30s now. Thinning and stuff like that runs in my family. I don't know if it's just like my genetics or if it's stuff that I'm doing. So yeah, when it comes to my scalp and my hairline, it's definitely something that I've been having to kind of tread lightly with. Like after I combed out my locks, I'm like, did I always have these dents in my head, or did I always have these soft spots? I do just feel like my scalp is different now. And then lastly, which do I prefer? Do I regret combing out my locks? Things of that nature. So first things first, I do not regret combing out my locks. When I decided to comb out my locks, it was a very intentional decision. So it's not something that I kind of did willy-nilly. It was something that I know for sure that I wanted to do. So I don't regret combing out my locks. But I definitely think like locks are one of my signature looks, one of my signature styles. Before I locked my real hair, I was always wearing like faux locks. And so when I actually locked my hair, you know, overall I think it looks good on me. It allowed me to see myself like in a different type of beauty than I had ever seen before, and overall, like I said, I just felt really pretty with my locks. But regardless if I have locks or if I have loose hair, one thing that I've learned over these last few years as I've come into myself is just finding styles that just compliment you, right? So for example, like ponytails and updos, I feel like they complement my face really well. So like I have my loose hair up in a little updo right now, but I can put up another picture with me with my locks and it gives like the same look, because personally I feel like updos compliment me, right? And I can do updos regardless of if my hair is locked or if I have loose hair. I also feel like bobs compliment me really well. Like when I had my locks, I used to love doing lock knot bobs, and then pre-locks I used to always wear a lot of bob hairstyles. I just feel like the way that it angles and hits my face, it looks really good. I also like my hair off my face. Like I got a little bang right here, but you know, for the most part, I don't think if I have like really long hair and it's kind of drowning me out, it doesn't compliment me. You know, I see women all the time and they have like very like sleek long looks, and whenever I try them, they don't look that good on me, right? I need layers, I need body, like I need structure and angles. I prefer side parts over middle parts. Not that I don't like middle parts at all, but I just feel like side parts compliment me. So I can wear side parts with loose hair, I can wear side parts with my locks. And so I feel like once you kind of figure out like what actually compliments you, it really doesn't matter if you have locks or loose hair. A compliment that I always get very often, like regardless of how my hair is styled, is that, you know, you always look very put together. I can do curly hair, I can do straight hair, I can do locks, I can do whatever kind of texture, and I feel like part of that is because I learned like what compliments me. And understanding like structure and angles, that is what helps like boost your overall confidence in how you wear your hair. So yeah, y'all, that is going to be it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed. Guess you can call this like my 6-month update post locks. If you're considering locking your hair or combing out your locks, hopefully this video will help you make an informative decision based on what works for you. But yeah, y'all, I guess stay tuned to see what's next with me and my hair. Y'all know I just love things all hair, whether it's locks or loose hair. I still watch all kind of hair content because I just enjoy like the creativeness of styling hair. But yeah, y'all, that's gonna be it. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Follow me on all of my social media platforms at Sharmel Lynette, and I will see you beautiful people in my next video. Bye.